The slave ship smelled like death and despair. Captain Taman covered his breathing holes as he walked through the corridor, his forearms holding weapons ready. The Vryn Syndicate hauler was supposed to carry expensive cargo, not living beings crammed into rusted cages. His scales rippled with disgust. "Captain, you need to see this." Ara's voice crackled through his communicator. His pilot sounded worried, which was never good. Ara didn't worry easily. Taman found her in the lower hold, standing in front of a cage that looked different from the others. This one had reinforced bars, electronic locks, and warning signs in 12 languages, the kind of security used for dangerous criminals or military assets. Inside, a creature slumped against the back wall, barely moving. "Is that a human?" Kyung asked, their insectoid eyes reflecting the dim light. The engineer moved closer, mandibles clicking nervously. "I thought humans were myths. They're real," Taman said slowly. He'd heard stories about Earth, the isolated world that kept to itself. Humans rarely traveled beyond their own systems, and when they did, they came back changed. Or they didn't come back at all. But what's one doing here? The human's head lifted slightly. Taman could see burn marks across pale skin, bruises turning purple and yellow, and eyes that looked too aware for someone in such condition. The human was male, probably young by their species standards, with dark hair matted with dried blood. "Help," the human whispered in broken Galactic Common. "Please." Ara's hand went to the lock panel immediately. "We're taking him." "Are you insane?" Taman grabbed her shoulder with two of his arms. "Look at that cage. Look at the security. The Vryn don't use this level of containment for normal prisoners. This human is dangerous, or valuable enough to imprison this way," Kyung offered. "Either way, leaving him here is murder. The Vryn execute prisoners they can't sell." Taman looked at the human again. Those eyes held something he recognized, the will to survive despite everything. He'd seen it in his own reflection too many times to ignore it now. "Fine, get him out. Grab any other aliens who can walk. We blow this ship in 5 minutes." Ara worked the lock while Kyung released other prisoners down the corridor. Taman kept his weapons ready, expecting trouble. The Vryn crew was dead, floating in their own control room, but automated defenses could still activate. The lock clicked open with a hiss. The human didn't run. He stood slowly, favoring his left leg, and nodded once. "Thank you. My name is Doyen. Save it for later." "Can you walk?" Taman asked. Doyen took 2 steps and nearly collapsed. Ara caught him, surprisingly strong for her size. "I've got him. Let's move." They ran through the dying ship, collecting 6 more prisoners who could move under their own power. Taman set the charges personally, making sure the slave ship would become nothing but scattered atoms. The universe had enough horror without letting the Vryn continue their business. Back on the scattered star, their own small vessel, Taman watched the slave ship explode through the viewport. Beautiful destruction, clean and final. "Get the human to medical," he ordered. "Kyung, check our transmissions. I want to know if anyone tracked us." "Already on it, Captain." Taman made his way to the medical bay an hour later. Doyen sat on a bed, cleaned up but still covered in healing wounds. Ara had given him spare clothes that hung loose on his frame. The human was thin, too thin, but his eyes were alert. "You're from Earth," Taman said. "Not a question." "Yes, thank you for getting me out. I've been on that ship for 6 months. What were you doing out here? Humans don't usually leave their space." Doyen's expression hardened. "I'm a recovery specialist, part of Earth's Deep Space Recovery Corps. We track down kidnapped humans and bring them home. I was following a lead on 3 missing people when the Vryn caught me instead." "Recovery specialist," Taman repeated. "You hunt slavers." "Yes. And they caught you anyway." Doyen's laugh was bitter. "I made a mistake. Got confident. Walked into a trap. They were better prepared than I expected." Kyung appeared in the doorway, their antennae twitching with anxiety. "Captain, we have a problem. When we raided the Vryn ship, our ID signature was transmitted. Standard hauler protocol. I didn't think about it until now. The temperature in the room seemed to drop." Taman felt his scales tighten. "Explain." "Every Vryn vessel logs encounters automatically. It's insurance for them. If someone attacks their ships, they know who did it. Our ship's ID, our location. Everything went into their network before we destroyed the vessel." "How bad is this?" Ara asked. "The Vryn Syndicate has connections everywhere. Governments, mercenary groups, bounty hunters. They'll put a price on our heads by morning." Kyung looked genuinely frightened. We just became the most wanted crew in 3 sectors. Taman wanted to punch something. Instead, he turned to Doyen. Did you know this would happen? I suspected something like it, yes. The Vrin are thorough. That's why Earth sends teams, not individuals. I was supposed to have backup. Doyen met Taman's eyes without flinching. I'm sorry. You saved my life and now you're targets because of it. Great. Just great. Taman paced the small room. What do? We can't outrun the entire syndicate. We can't fight them. We're 3 people with a cargo ship. 4 people now, Doyen said quietly. And you won't be fighting them alone. What does that mean? Doyen stood carefully, testing his injured leg. When you rescued me, did anyone scan my body? We checked for tracking devices, Era said. Found nothing. You wouldn't find what I have. It's biological, embedded in my DNA. Every human in the recovery corps has it. It's how Earth tracks us. Doyen looked out the viewport at the stars. The moment you pulled me from that cage, Earth knew where I was. They know I'm alive. And they know I was held prisoner for 6 months. So what? They'll send someone to pick you up? Taman asked. Not exactly. Doyen turned back to face them. Earth has one absolute policy regarding its citizens in space. It doesn't matter if you're a diplomat, a scientist, or a janitor. If someone takes a human, Earth comes for them. Not to negotiate, not to trade, to eliminate the threat completely. You're saying Earth is going to attack the Vrin Syndicate because of you? Kyung's mandibles clicked rapidly. That's insane. The Syndicate operates in dozens of systems. They have fleets, armies, political protection. Had. Doyen corrected. By now, Earth intelligence has identified every Syndicate asset, every officer, every protected account. They're probably already moving. He looked at Taman with something like pity. I tried to tell them to leave me. Before I was captured, I knew the risks. But Earth doesn't care what I want. They care about the message. What message? Ara whispered. That humanity is not prey. That we're not victims anymore. That if you take one of us, we will burn down everything you love to get them back. Doyen sat back down, suddenly looking exhausted. You should have left me in that cage. At least then you'd still be safe. Taman stared at the human, trying to process this information. Every story he'd heard about Earth came rushing back. The whispers about human warships that appeared from nowhere. The rumors of entire pirate stations going silent overnight. The warnings from older species to avoid humanity unless absolutely necessary. He'd thought they were exaggerations. Ghost stories to scare young smugglers. Looking at Doyen now at the calm certainty in those human eyes, Taman realized the stories were probably understatements. How long do we have? He asked. Until Earth arrives? Days maybe. Until the Syndicate comes for you? Hours if we're lucky. Doyen met each of their gazes in turn. I'm sorry. You tried to do the right thing and I've brought you nothing but trouble. Ara spoke up, her voice steady despite the fear Taman knew she must feel. We'd do it again. Nobody deserves to die in a cage. Noble, Doyen said softly. But nobility doesn't stop bullets. We need to move, find somewhere defensible and wait for Earth to make contact. They'll protect you now, whether you want them to or not. Taman looked at his small crew, his makeshift family, and wondered what he'd gotten them into by opening a single cage. Outside the viewport, the stars seemed suddenly full of danger, full of eyes watching and waiting. Set course for Hollow Point Station, he ordered. If we're going to wait for Armageddon, we might as well do it somewhere with decent food and strong walls. As the scattered star jumped into hyperspace, none of them noticed the small human vessel that had been watching from a distance, silent and invisible. It turned smoothly and disappeared in the opposite direction, carrying with it confirmation that Doyen was alive and his rescuers identified. Earth had received its message. Now it would send one of its own. Hollow Point Station looked like someone had bolted together 100 different ships and called it architecture. The trading hub floated in neutral space, serving criminals, merchants, and refugees without asking questions. It was dirty, dangerous, and exactly the kind of place where Taman felt comfortable. Docking Bay 7, Ara reported as she guided the scattered star into its assigned berth. No security alerts, no unusual traffic. We're clear, for now, Taman muttered. He watched the station's marketplace through their external cameras. Business as usual. Maybe the Vrin hadn't spread the word yet. Maybe they'd have time to hide. Doyen stood beside him, looking healthier after 2 days of food and rest. The human still moved stiffly, favoring his ribs, but the dangerous awareness in his eyes never dimmed. This place has a population of about 40,000? Give or take, why? Just calculating. Earth likes to know how many civilians are nearby before they make contact. They're careful about collateral damage. Doyen said it casually, like discussing weather patterns. Contact? Kyung stopped their work on a panel. You think Earth is already here? They were here before we arrived, probably watching this station for the past day, gathering intelligence, identifying threats. That's how they operate. Ara's comm panel beeped. She checked it and her scales paled. Captain, Station Master Velkus wants to see you immediately. He says it's urgent. Taman felt his stomach drop. Velkus ran hollow point with an iron fist, managing the delicate balance between all the criminals who used his station. He never called meetings unless something had gone seriously wrong. I'll go alone, Taman said. You'll take me with you, Doyen countered. Velkus needs to understand what's happening. Better he hears it from me. They found Velkus in his office, a circular room with windows overlooking the marketplace. The serpentine alien was coiled around his raised platform. His hood flared in agitation. The moment he saw Doyen, his forked tongue flickered nervously. You brought a human here. You brought a human to my station. Velkus's voice was strained. Tell me you didn't rescue a human from the Vryn Syndicate. Please tell me that. How did you know? Taman asked. Because 7 minutes ago, every computer system in this sector went dark. Communications, navigation, trading networks, everything just stopped. When they came back online, all data related to the Vryn Syndicate's slave operations had been deleted. Completely erased from every server, every backup, every archive across 12 systems. Velkus's eyes fixed on Doyen. That's a human operation. Nothing else in the galaxy can do that. Earth Intelligence Bureau, Doyen confirmed. They're thorough. Thorough? They just committed the largest cyber attack in recorded history. Do you understand what this means? Velkus was nearly shouting now. The Vryn will go to war over this. Every government they have connections with will mobilize. This sector will become a battlefield. No, said a new voice from the doorway. It won't. Everyone turned. A human female stood there, somehow having entered without triggering any alarms. She wore simple gray clothing, but carried herself like a soldier. Her dark hair was pulled back and her expression was professional and cold. My name is Ji-won. I'm with Earth's Diplomatic Corps. She walked into the room without invitation. Station Master Velkus, you have nothing to fear from Earth. We have no quarrel with Hollow Point or its residents. Who let you on my station? Velkus demanded. I let myself in. Your security is adequate but not designed to stop human infiltration techniques. Ji-won turned to Taman. Captain, thank you for rescuing Doyen. Earth is grateful. Earth is about to start a war. Taman shot back. That's not gratitude, that's consequences. You're right. But not the consequences you think. Ji-won pulled up a holographic display from her wrist device. The Vryn Syndicate logged your ship's ID when you raided their vessel. Within hours, they issued a bounty contract. 4 governments with syndicate connections authorized military assets to hunt you. 2 mercenary armies took the contract. By tomorrow morning, every bounty hunter in the Outer Rim would have been looking for the scattered star. Would have been? Ara asked quietly. Past tense. Yes. Ji-won's smile was thin and sharp. Earth has already taken steps to protect you. You saved one of our citizens, which makes you friends of Earth now, whether you want to be or not. What steps? Tamin felt cold despite his scales. Ji-won expanded the holographic display. It showed a debris field, thousands of pieces of metal and ice floating in space. This was the Vryn Syndicate's main operating base. 3,000 personnel, their command structure, their records, their fleet coordination. It no longer exists. The room fell silent. Taman stared at the debris, trying to comprehend what he was seeing. An entire base. Just gone. You murdered 3,000 people, Velkus whispered. We eliminated 3,000 criminals involved in the kidnapping and torture of sentient beings, including 47 humans over the past 5 years. Ji-won's voice remained steady. We gave them no warning because they gave their victims none. We showed them no mercy because they showed none. This is what happens when you take humans. Doyen closed his eyes, his jaw tight. How many of the 47 are still alive? 31. We've located them all. Recovery operations are underway. Ji-won's expression softened slightly when she looked at him. You were the first one we found. The others will be home soon. At what cost? How many people will die in this war you're starting? Doyen's voice was harsh. As few as possible, but as many as necessary. Jiwan turned back to Taemin. 4 governments have connections to the syndicate. We've issued them all the same ultimatum. Hand over everyone involved in human trafficking, freeze all syndicate assets, and cooperate with our investigation. Or face economic and military consequences. They'll never agree, Velka said. You're demanding they betray their allies. 2 already have. Complete cooperation within 3 hours of our ultimatum. Very wise of them. Jiwan closed the holographic display. The other 2 are being stubborn. We're giving them 48 hours to reconsider. And if they don't? Taemin asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. Then they'll learn the same lesson the Vryn just learned. Humanity is not prey. We are not victims. And we do not forgive those who harm our own. A station-wide alert suddenly blared. Velkas checked his console, his hood flaring wider. Impossible. There's a fleet at the edge of the sector. A human fleet. 50 ships, maybe more. Military vessels. 53, Jiwan corrected. The Pacific Fleet under Admiral Hana's command. They'll maintain position unless threatened. This is purely a protective measure. Protective? You've parked an armada on my doorstep. Velkas's voice cracked. Not on your doorstep. At the sector perimeter. Admiral Hana respects neutral space. But she wanted to make our presence clear to anyone who might think about attacking this station, while Captain Taemin and his crew are here. Jiwan looked at Taemin. You're under Earth's protection now. Anyone who comes for you comes through us first. Taemin didn't know what to say. He'd rescued one person from a cage. In return, Earth had destroyed a criminal empire and parked a fleet in his neighborhood. The scales of proportional response were completely broken. Why? Ara asked the question Taemin was thinking. Why go this far for one person? Jiwan's expression became something almost sad. Because we were nearly extinct once. 400 years ago, our world was dying. We were starving, fighting, destroying ourselves. No one came to help us. No one cared. We survived because we decided that humanity mattered. That every single human life had value worth fighting for. Now we make sure that when one of us is taken, the universe knows it made a mistake. It's not about Doyen specifically. It's about the next human, and the one after that. It's about making sure this never happens again. That's insane, Taemin said. Perhaps, but it's effective. When's the last time you heard about someone kidnapping a human? Jiwan waited, but no one answered. Exactly. Earth has a reputation now. We're not looking to conquer anyone. We're not interested in empire building. We just want our people to be safe, and we'll do whatever it takes to ensure that. An explosion somewhere in the station's lower levels made the floor vibrate. Alarms started screaming. Felkus checked his monitors, cursing in 3 languages. Bounty Hunter just tried to breach your docking bay. Explosives. They're dead now, security responded, but there's damage. There will be more, Jiwan said calmly. The Vryn put out the contract before we destroyed their base. Some hunters won't have gotten the message yet, or they'll think they can succeed where others failed. This is madness. Taemin felt overwhelmed. Yesterday we were nobody. Today we're in the middle of an interstellar incident. Yesterday you were smugglers, Jiwan corrected. Today you're heroes who saved a human life. That means something to us. Admiral Hana has authorized me to offer you a choice. You can take a new ship, new identities, and disappear. Earth will ensure no one ever finds you. Or you can work with us. Work with you how? Kyung asked. Help us find the other missing humans. You know the criminal underworld better than our agents. You have connections, experience, and now you have Earth's backing. We'll pay you well, protect you absolutely, and when it's done, you'll have friends in high places. 3 weeks had changed everything. Taemin stood on the bridge of a human warship called the Indomitable, watching through viewports as another rescue operation concluded. Below them, a mining colony burned. Not destroyed entirely, just the sections that housed the slavers. Precision strikes. Surgical violence, target acquired, a human soldier reported. 2 captives confirmed alive. Extraction team is bringing them up now. Taemin had learned to read human emotions better over the past weeks. The soldier sounded pleased but not happy. There was a difference. Finding humans alive was good, but it meant those humans had suffered first. Captain Taemin, Admiral Hana approached from the command center. The human female was tall, severe, with gray streaking her black hair. She commanded the Pacific Fleet with the same precision she applied to everything else. Your intelligence was correct again. Well done. I just told you where criminals hide. You did the hard part. Taemin watched the extraction shuttle rise from the colony. 2 more humans going home. 2 out of 31 still missing. They'd found 15 already. Intelligence gathering is the hardest part, Hana corrected. Anyone can fire weapons. Finding the right targets requires skill. She pulled up a holographic display showing the sector map. Red marks indicated Vrin Syndicate operations. Most were crossed out now. 3 weeks ago, this map was mostly red. Now look at it. Nearly everything was crossed out or marked destroyed. The Vrin Syndicate had been systematically dismantled piece by piece. Some had surrendered. Most hadn't been given the chance. Is this what you wanted? Taman asked quietly. Complete annihilation? I wanted compliance. They chose annihilation. Hana closed the display. Every organization we've eliminated received a chance to cooperate. Hand over the humans, face justice, pay compensation. Simple terms. Those who agreed are still alive. Those who refused aren't. That's not cruelty, Captain. That's consequence. Ara joined them on the bridge, Kyung following close behind. His crew had adapted to life aboard human vessels better than Taman expected. Ara particularly enjoyed working with human pilots, trading techniques and stories. Kyung had become fascinated with human computer systems. We have a problem, Ara announced. Minho just got new intelligence. There's a bounty hunter coming for us, someone called Kix. Supposed to be the best in 5 sectors. Taman felt his scales tighten. The bounty is still active. Dead contracts take time to filter through the underworld, Minho said, appearing as if summoned. The human intelligence officer smiled easily, but Taman had learned that smile meant danger for someone. Kix is expensive, professional, and very stupid. He thinks he can collect on you despite Earth's protection. Can he? Kyung asked nervously. He can try. Won't succeed, but the attempt might be entertaining. Minho's smile widened. I've been tracking him for 2 days. He's on Hollow Point Station right now gathering information, probably planning to ambush you when you return to the scattered star. So we don't return, Taman said simply. Or we use you as bait and eliminate a problem. Minho's tone remained casual, like discussing lunch options. Kix has killed 17 sentient beings this year, all legal under bounty hunter licenses, but still. The galaxy would be better without him. You want to use my crew as bait? Taman's voice was flat. I want to remove a threat to people under Earth's protection. There's a difference. Minho pulled up a hologram showing Kix's species, large, armored, multiple limbs holding weapons. He's dangerous but predictable. Bounty hunters follow patterns. I know his patterns. Admiral Hana studied the hologram thoughtfully. Captain Taman, this is your decision. We can keep you aboard human vessels indefinitely, or we can resolve the threat. I won't order you into danger. Taman looked at his crew. Ara seemed ready to fight. Kyung looked terrified but determined. They'd been running from consequences for weeks. Maybe it was time to stop running. What's the plan? He asked. 6 hours later, Taman walked through Hollow Point's marketplace trying to look casual while knowing he was being hunted. His 3 arms held shopping items. His 4th was close to his weapon. Ara and Kyung browsed nearby stalls, also armed, also watching. Kix is moving. Minho's voice whispered through their earpieces. He's got 2 associates with him. They're trying to box you in. Where? Taman asked quietly. Alley to your left, 30 meters. He thinks he's being clever. Taman kept walking, letting himself be herded. He trusted Minho's plan, even though every instinct screamed to run. Human intelligence officers thought 5 steps ahead of everyone else. It was terrifying and reassuring in equal measure. The attack came fast. Kix burst from the alley, his associates flanking from other directions. Energy weapons charged, ready to fire. But Kix wasn't aiming at Taman. He was aiming at Ara. Drop your weapons or I kill her, Kix's voice boomed. You're worth the same dead or alive. She's not. I'll count to 3. Time seemed to slow. Taman saw Ara's eyes go wide. Kyung froze in panic. His own weapons were too far from ready position. They'd miscalculated. Kix was smarter than Minho thought. Then Doyun stepped out from behind Kix, moving silent as a shadow. The human shouldn't have been there. He was supposed to be on the Indomitable, recovering. But there he was, weapon pressed against Kix's head. Drop it, Doyun said quietly. Kix spun faster than should be possible for his size, weapon coming around. Doyun's gun fired once. Kix's associate on the left dropped. Another shot. The right associate fell. 3rd shot. Kix stumbled backward, armor dented but not pierced. Kinetic weapons? Against my armor? Kix laughed. Stupid human. I'm rated for military-grade projectiles. Good armor, Doyen agreed. He fired 4 more times, all hitting the same spot on Kix's chest plate. The 4th shot punched through. Kix looked down in surprise at the hole in his armor, then collapsed. The entire fight had lasted maybe 5 seconds. Station security arrived within minutes, but Minho already had documentation ready. Legal kill, self-defense, bounty hunter attacked first. Hollow Point didn't care much about dead criminals anyway. Velkus just wanted the mess cleaned up quickly. Taman found Doyen sitting on a cargo container afterward, checking his weapon methodically. The human looked tired, older than his years. You were supposed to stay on the ship, Taman said. Minho's plan had a flaw. He assumed Kix would target you directly. I knew he'd go for your crew instead. Easier leverage. Doyen set his weapon down. I've dealt with hundreds of bounty hunters. They all think the same way eventually. You saved Ara's life. You saved mine first. Now we're even. Doyen looked at his hands. They were shaking slightly. I told myself I was done with this. Done with killing. But I saw that gun aimed at her and I didn't even think. Just moved. Instinct, Taman said. Training. Which is worse, I think. Doyen met his eyes. Do you understand what you've gotten into? Working with Earth, helping us hunt for the missing humans. This is what it looks like. Violence, blood, people dying. You're smugglers, not soldiers. We're whatever we need to be to survive, Taman replied. That's always been true. Over the next week, things escalated beyond anyone's expectations. The 2 governments that refused Earth's ultimatum faced consequences that made the Vrin Syndicate's destruction look restrained. No ships were destroyed. No cities were bombed. Instead, every single trade route they controlled became impassable. Human stealth vessels blockaded jump points without ever being seen. Cargo ships that tried to run the blockade found their navigation systems mysteriously failing. Economic collapse happened within days. Both governments had based their entire infrastructure on galactic trade. Without it, food supplies ran low. Medicine stopped arriving. Manufacturing ground to halt. Earth never fired a shot. They simply turned off the commerce and waited. This is worse than war, Kyung observed, watching news feeds showing riots on one of the affected worlds. At least in war you can fight back. That's the point, Minho explained.
He joined them on the scattered star for the journey to their next target.
Earth doesn't want to kill civilians. We want governments to understand that protecting slavers costs more than cooperating with us. Much more. It's cruel, Ara said. It's effective. Watch. Minho pulled up a news feed. One of the holdout governments was broadcasting an emergency announcement. Their leader appeared looking defeated. We surrender. Complete cooperation. Just let our ships through. There you go, Minho said with satisfaction. 30 million people suffering versus handing over maybe 50 criminals. Easy choice when you finally make it. What about the last government? Taman asked. They're being stubborn. Something else is happening there, though. Internal revolt. Seems some of their own citizens don't appreciate protecting slavers at the cost of their economy. Minho smiled. Funny how that works. People tolerate corruption until it personally inconveniences them. 3 days later, that government fell to a coup. The new leadership immediately agreed to Earth's terms. Minho seemed unsurprised. Did Earth fund that rebellion? Taman asked. What rebellion? I just saw a spontaneous uprising of citizens demanding better governance. Minho's innocent expression was utterly unconvincing. Though I suppose if someone had provided those rebels with communications equipment and strategic advice, that would be clever. Hypothetically speaking. You're terrifying, Kyung said flatly. Thank you. I work very hard at it. The conference room on the Indomitable was too quiet. Taman sat across from Admiral Hana, watching her review data on missing humans. They'd found 23 now. 8 more remained somewhere in the galaxy, hidden or sold to buyers who'd covered their tracks carefully. We're running out of easy leads, Hana said without looking up. The last few will be the hardest to find. People who bought humans specifically because they wanted them hidden. Private collectors, Minho added from his corner. The intelligence officer looked tired, which was unusual. Rich, powerful individuals who don't keep records, who use cash transactions and anonymous brokers. They're the worst. Ara paced the room, her scales flickering with agitation. She'd been restless for days now. I still see him sometimes. Kix pointing that gun at me. I know Doyen saved me, but I keep thinking about how close it was. Combat trauma, Hana said matter-of-factly. Normal reaction. Would you like to speak with one of our counselors? I'm not human. Would they understand? Trauma is trauma. The shape doesn't matter much. Hana finally looked up. Captain Taman, I want your opinion on something. The Council is fracturing. Half the galaxy supports Earth's actions now that they understand the scope of the trafficking. The other half sees us as dangerous aggressors. How does this play in the criminal underworld? Taman considered carefully. Criminals respect strength. Always have. Right now, Earth demonstrated more strength than anyone expected. That buys you fear, which is valuable. But it also breeds resentment. Some will avoid humans completely. Others will see you as a challenge to overcome. Which means more attacks on human citizens, Minho predicted. People testing Earth's resolve. Seeing if we really will go to war over every human. Will you? Kyung asked quietly. Yes, Hana said without hesitation. That's the policy. That's the promise. We protect our own always, no matter the cost. Even if the cost is war with half the galaxy, Taman pushed, even then. Though I doubt it will come to that. Most governments aren't stupid enough to deliberately provoke us now. Not after seeing what happened to the Vryn and their allies. Hana pulled up a new display. We've intercepted communications from 3 major criminal organizations. They're issuing internal policies. Avoid humans, don't trade in humans, don't even look at humans wrong. Earth's reputation is doing the work for us now. Good, Era said fiercely. Let them be afraid. But Taman noticed something in Hana's expression. A shadow of doubt, maybe. Or regret. Hard to read human emotions completely. What's the cost been? He asked. For Earth, I mean. You've deployed fleets, committed resources, made enemies. What has this campaign cost your people? Hana was silent for a long moment. More than I can discuss in detail. But I will say this. Earth's economy is built to support our military. We plan for conflicts like this. The financial cost is manageable. The political cost is more complex. We've forced the galaxy to choose sides. Some species now see humanity as protectors. Others see us as threats. We're reshaping galactic politics just by existing. Is that what you wanted? Kyung asked. What we wanted was for our people to be safe. Everything else is secondary. Hana closed the displays. Captain, I need your crew for something delicate. We've located another missing human. A woman named Soman, taken 3 years ago. She's being held by a warlord named Keth in a fortified station. The problem is that Keth knows we're coming. He's gambling that we won't risk the casualties of a direct assault. Will you? Taman asked, if necessary. But I'd prefer intelligence gathering first. Your crew can move through criminal spaces we can't. Find out Keth's defenses, his routines, any weaknesses. Give us the information we need to extract Soman with minimal loss of life. You mean minimal loss of human life, Ara said quietly. Hana met her eyes steadily. I mean all life. Earth doesn't enjoy killing. We're willing to do it when necessary. But we prefer precision over massacre. Help us be precise. 3 days later, Taman found himself in a bar on a station called Last Chance, which was optimistically named given how close it sat to the edge of known space. Kyung was with him, both of them posing as smugglers looking for work. The bar was exactly the kind of place where information flowed if you knew how to listen. Keth's hiring, a Vexel merchant told them after Taman bought the 3rd round of drinks. Looking for security. Apparently expecting trouble. What kind of trouble? Kyung asked, playing their role well. The human kind. Idiot bought a human years ago before Earth went crazy. Now he's sitting on a time bomb wondering when it explodes. The merchant laughed. I told him to just give her back, but he's too proud. Says Earth can't tell him what to do. Brave, Taman observed. Stupid, you mean? Have you seen what Earth did to the Vryn? They don't negotiate. They don't compromise. They just come in and take what's theirs and burn everything else. The merchant leaned closer. Between you and me, I'm getting off this station tomorrow. When Earth comes for Keth, I don't want to be nearby. They gathered more intelligence over 2 days. Keth Station had 300 residents, half of them security forces. Automated defenses, shielding rated for military assaults, escape pods ready for evacuation. Keth had prepared well, but they also learned his weakness, arrogance. Keth believed his defenses were impenetrable. He'd positioned himself in the central tower, surrounded by guards confident that no force could reach him there. He's forgotten the first rule of fortresses, Minho said when they reported back. They protect against attacks from outside, not from inside. The assault began at dawn station time. Human dropships came from orbit, but not directly at Keth Station. Instead, They deployed at the edge of sensor range and sent in something smaller. Infiltration teams moving through the station's maintenance tunnels. Taman watched from the Indomitable, feeling useless. His part was done. Now it was up to human special forces to do what they did best. They're inside the perimeter, a tactical officer reported. No alarms yet. Keth doesn't know they're there. Admiral Hana stood with her hands behind her back, perfectly still. Status on evacuation? Civilian sections have been quietly cleared. Everyone's in the outer docking areas. If things go wrong, they can escape. And Soman? Confirmed location. Central tower, 3rd floor. Under guard but unharmed. The assault happened in stages. First, the infiltration teams disabled the automated defenses from inside, turning Keth's own security systems against him. Weapons that should have fired at approaching humans instead stayed silent. Shields that should have activated never engaged. Then the main force dropped. 20 human soldiers in powered armor, moving with practiced efficiency. They breached the central tower from 3 directions simultaneously. The fighting lasted 4 hours, not because Keth's forces were particularly strong, but because the humans were being careful. They cleared room by room, ensuring civilians weren't caught in crossfire. They offered surrender at every opportunity. Only when fired upon did they return fire. Taman watched the tactical display, seeing symbols move and shift. Red markers for Keth's forces, blue for humans. The blue advanced steadily, methodically. The red fell back, then broke, then scattered. Keth himself tried to escape through a secret passage. He made it as far as the docking bay before Minho, who'd been waiting there personally, stopped him. "You could have just given her back," Minho said conversationally. "Earth would have left you alone. Instead, you gambled that we wouldn't come. You lost." Keth was handed over to local authorities, charged with kidnapping and a dozen other crimes. His station was occupied by human forces temporarily, then returned to civilian control. The assault resulted in 23 casualties, all among Keth's security forces who'd chosen to fight. 0 civilian deaths, 0 human deaths. But the real victory was in what they found on the 3rd floor of the central tower. Soman was 32 years old, thin and scarred, with eyes that had seen too much. She didn't speak when the human soldiers found her, just stared at them like they might be another trick, another false hope. "You're safe now," the team leader said gently. "We're taking you home." Soman started crying then. Not the quiet tears of relief, but deep, wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. 3 years of captivity, 3 years of waiting, ended in a locked room with human soldiers who'd crossed the galaxy to find her. Taman met her briefly when she was brought aboard the Indomitable. She looked at him with confusion until someone explained that he'd helped provide the intelligence for her rescue. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for caring." "Earth cares," Taman said, feeling awkward. "They never stopped looking." "I know." I heard Keth talking. He was terrified. He knew Earth would come eventually. He just hoped it wouldn't be so soon. Soman managed a weak smile. "I want to go home now. I want to see Earth again." Later, Taman found Doyen standing in the observation deck, watching stars slide past as the ship moved through hyperspace. The human looked thoughtful, distant. "Samin's going home," Taman said. "Good. She deserves that. They all do." Doyen turned to face him. "Do you understand now? Why Earth does this? Why we go so far?" "I think so. It's not about revenge. It's about prevention. Make the cost so high that no one dares try." 6 months had passed since Taman pulled a dying human from a cage. Sometimes it felt like years. Sometimes it felt like yesterday. Time had become strange aboard human warships, measured not in days but in missions completed and people saved. The scattered star sat in a repair bay on Hollow Point Station, getting upgraded systems courtesy of Earth's gratitude. New shields, better weapons, engines that could outrun most military vessels. Taman stood underneath his ship, watching technicians install hardware that cost more than his vessel was worth. "She'll be the fastest independent ship in 3 sectors when we're done," the chief technician said proudly. "Nothing will catch you unless you want to be caught." "What's the cost?" Taman asked, even though he knew the answer. "Already paid. Admiral Hana's orders. Consider it a bonus for your work." The technician smiled. "You've helped rescue 14 humans personally. That's worth more than a few upgrades." 14. Not enough. 8 humans still remained missing, hidden in places even Earth's intelligence network struggled to reach. The easy targets were gone. What remained were the hardest cases, the ones that would require patience and luck in equal measure. Ara found him an hour later, looking at stellar charts in the station's public library. She'd changed over the months. Still young, still optimistic, but tempered now by experience, she understood that doing good things often required doing hard things first. "Captain Bowman wants to meet us," she said. "Says he has a proposal." Captain Bowman commanded a new task force that had emerged from Earth's anti-trafficking campaign. Multiple species working together, funded partially by Earth and partially by the Galactic Council's reformist faction. His ship, the Unity, represented something new. Cooperation based on shared values rather than political convenience. They met him in a neutral conference room. Bowman was a Quillwrath like Taman, older and scarred from decades of military service. He'd been fighting traffickers long before Earth arrived, with less success and less support. "Captain Taman, I've followed your work with interest," Bowman said warmly. "You're proof that individuals can make a difference. That's what I want to talk about. I'm building a network of independent operators, people like you who know the underworld and want to make it safer. I'd like the Scattered Star to join." "We're already working with Earth," Taman pointed out. "I know. This isn't exclusive. Think of it as expanding your reach. Earth focuses on human victims. My network focuses on everyone. We share intelligence, resources, backup when needed. You'd keep your independence but have support from multiple species." "What's the catch?" Kyung asked suspiciously. "The catch is that this work never ends. We might have broken the Vrin Syndicate, but trafficking doesn't stop just because one organization fell. New ones will rise. Different methods, different targets, same cruelty. This becomes your life if you commit to it." Taman looked at his crew. Ara seemed interested. Kyung appeared thoughtful. They'd all changed. They'd gone from smugglers to heroes without quite meaning to. And now someone was offering to make it permanent. "We'll think about it," Taman said. Minho appeared the next day with new intelligence. The human officer looked excited, which usually meant someone was about to have a very bad day. "We found them," Minho announced. "The last 8, all in one location." "That's impossible," Taman said. "We've been looking for months. How could they all be together?" "Because someone very smart and very rich collected them deliberately. A fortress station called Haven's End, run by a warlord who thinks he's untouchable. He's been gathering rare acquisitions for years. Art, artifacts, exotic species. Humans fit his collection criteria. Intelligent, adaptable, rare. A collector," Ara said with disgust. "He thinks people are objects. His mistake. Earth doesn't negotiate for objects. We take them back." Minho displayed holographic schematics. Haven's End is heavily defended. Military-grade shielding, automated weapons, a private army. Direct assault would work but cost lives. "We need something cleverer." "Infiltration," Kyung suggested. "Get someone inside before the main force arrives." "Exactly. And I know just the crew for it." Minho smiled at Taman. "You've built a reputation in the criminal underworld. The aliens who work with Earth, some see you as traitors. Others see you as successful. The warlord is hiring new suppliers looking for exotic goods. You could get inside as merchants. And then what? Open the door for human soldiers?" Taman asked. "Something like that. Plus gather intelligence, locate the humans, prepare escape routes. Standard infiltration work. Dangerous, but you've done dangerous before." They planned for 2 weeks. Earth sent specialists to train Taman's crew in infiltration techniques, silent communication, emergency protocols. Doyen, who'd officially retired but kept finding excuses to stay involved, helped them prepare mentally. "The hardest part isn't the mission," he explained. "It's staying calm when things go wrong. And things always go wrong. When that happens, remember your training. Remember your team. Remember why you're doing this." "To save 8 humans," Era said. "To save 8 people," Doyon corrected gently. "The fact that they're human matters to Earth, but it shouldn't matter to you. You're doing this because it's right, because people shouldn't be kept in cages. Keep that clear in your mind." The approach to Haven's End took 3 days through jump points and hidden routes. The Scattered Star arrived with forged credentials and a cargo hold full of items designed to interest a collector. Expensive, but not impossible to acquire. Bait. The station was beautiful in a cold way. Crystalline structures catching light from a nearby star, making the whole thing glow like a jewel. Inside, Taman knew 8 humans waited in captivity. 8 people who'd given up hope of rescue. Cargo vessel, Scattered Star, Transmit your business, Station Control demanded. We're here to see the master, Taman replied, using the title carefully. Collectors liked formality. We have items that might interest his collection. Wait for clearance. They waited an hour before being allowed to dock. Security scanned them thoroughly, confiscating weapons but allowing their cargo through. Standard procedure. Taman, Ara, and Kyung were escorted through pristine corridors lined with display cases containing artifacts from 100 worlds. Everything here is stolen, Ara whispered. Or bought from thieves. Same thing. Taman studied the displays, looking for patterns, for security measures, for anything useful. The warlord called himself the Curator. He was a species Taman didn't recognize, tall and thin with too many joints in his limbs. He moved like a puppet on strings, graceful and unsettling. Show me what you've brought, the Curator said without preamble. They displayed their goods. Rare crystals from dead worlds. Ancient texts from forgotten civilizations. Technology that shouldn't exist anymore. All carefully selected to appeal to a collector's obsession. The Curator examined each item with obvious pleasure. Acceptable. I'll purchase everything. But I'm looking for something specific now. Something alive, intelligent, rare. Do you have access to such acquisitions? That depends what you're looking for, Taman said carefully. Humans. I have 8 already, but they're becoming depressed. Apparently they're social creatures who suffer in isolation. I need more to improve their mental health. Can you acquire additional specimens? Taman felt his scales go rigid with rage. This creature was discussing people like they were pets, but he kept his voice steady. Humans are difficult right now. Earth has made them dangerous to acquire. I'm aware. That's why I'm offering triple the usual rate. Earth can't watch everywhere. Surely some humans can still be taken without notice. We'll see what we can find, Taman lied. But we'd need to inspect your current collection. Ensure we acquire compatible specimens. The Curator considered this. Reasonable. I'll allow a brief viewing. Follow me. They walked deeper into the station, through security checkpoints and locked doors. The Curator led them to a viewing gallery overlooking a large habitat. Inside, 8 humans lived in a gilded cage. Comfortable furniture, good food, entertainment systems. Everything except freedom. Taman counted them quickly. 5 women, 3 men, various ages. They looked healthy but hopeless. 1 woman sat staring at nothing. A man paced endlessly. 2 others played a board game with mechanical precision, just filling time. Magnificent, aren't they? The Curator said. So adaptable. They've learned my language, adjusted to station life, even created their own small society. Humans are truly remarkable. They look sad, Ara observed. A temporary condition. Once I acquire more, they'll stabilize. Social creatures need groups. I'm learning their requirements. The Curator tapped controls and food appeared in the habitat. I take excellent care of my collection. Taman forced himself to stay calm. To smile and nod and pretend this was acceptable, to gather information while swallowing his disgust. He noticed security patterns, guard positions, the habitat's environmental controls. Everything Minho would need for the rescue. They left Haven's End an hour later with the Curators. Payment and a promise to return with more. Acquisitions. The moment they cleared the station's security range, Taman transmitted everything they'd learned to the waiting human fleet. Admiral Hana's response was immediate. Good work. The assault begins in 6 hours. Get clear of the area. We'll handle it from here.